Namaste. So in one of our recent videos, we mentioned that one has to learn how to die. After all, everybody has to die. So you might as well learn how to do it. Or like I always say, die now, avoid the rush. That means dropping all attachment to the body, senses, and sense objects, and living as though already dead. So in this short series, we're going to go through some descriptions from the ancient wisdom on how to live a life that prepares you for death. And we're going to start with the Bushido, samurai tradition of ancient Japan. And so I have a reading, first of all, from The Way of the Samurai. The way of the samurai is found in death. When it comes to either or, there is only the quick choice of death. It is not particularly difficult. Be determined and advance. To say that dying without reaching one's aim is to die a dog's death is the frivolous way of sophisticates. When pressed with the choice of life or death, it is not necessary to gain one's aim. We all want to live, and in large part we make our logic according to what we like. But not attaining our aim and continuing to live is cowardice. This is a thin, dangerous line. To die without gaining one's aim is a dog's death and fanaticism, but there is no shame in this. As everything in this world is but a shame, death is the only sincerity. It is said that becoming as a dead man in one's daily living is following the path of sincerity. This is the substance of the way of the samurai. If by setting one's heart right every morning and evening, one is able to live as though his body were already dead, he gains freedom in the way. His whole life will be without blame, and he will succeed in his calling. Above all, the way of the samurai should be in being aware that you do not know what is going to happen next, and in querying every item day and night. Victory and defeat are matters of the temporary force of circumstances. The way of avoiding shame is different. It is simply in death. Retaliate. Fight, even if it seems certain that you will lose. Neither wisdom nor technique has a place in this. A real man does not think of victory or defeat. He plunges recklessly toward an irrational death. By doing this, you will awaken from your dreams. Calculating people are contemptible. The reason for this is that calculation deals with loss and gain, and the loss and gain mind never stops. Death is considered loss, and life is considered gain. Such a person does not understand the value of death. Thus, he is contemptible. Thus, the way of the samurai is, morning after morning, practicing contemplation of death, considering whether it will be here or there, imagining the most likely way of dying, and putting one's mind firmly in death. Although this may be a most difficult thing, if one will do it, it can be done. There is nothing that one should suppose cannot be done. So this is Hagakure, the way of the samurai. Of course, this was written in a social context that no longer exists, medieval feudal Japan, where the warriors were definitely in charge. And any of them could kill anybody for any reason or no reason at all without punishment, except if he did it shamefully. Well, what does that mean? To kill or to die shamefully means to reach death or give death without following the bushido, the way of the samurai, without courage or with calculation, profit and loss. This is considered contemptible because it tries to put a value on something that is invaluable, which is life and death. Now, since we all have to die, we should approach death with courage. And when the time comes, as he says, we should plunge recklessly toward an irrational death. Death is always irrational. Foolish cowards who commit suicide are often extremely rational in their rationalizations of why they're doing it. But actually, it's shameful because they are not dying an honorable death like the samurai who commits seppuku. They are dying a shameful death of one who cannot deal with life. The samurai deals with life as if he is already dead, with no attachment to the body, no attachment to the senses and their objects. He simply confronts reality as it is and deals with the consequences. Now, of course, samurai culture is now practically lost. There are no more warriors or feudal lords. Now everything is politics and administration and based on money. So we've come a long way down from that honorable way of life to the calculating, profiteering, gain and loss type of calculation. And this is shameful to a samurai or to a sannyasi. This is a shameful way of living. Because, as he says, if one dies without achieving one's aim, if he dies with courage, this is honorable. But if he continues to live without achieving his aim, this is shameful. This is contemptible. This is a failure to do one's duty. And in that condition, how can one go on living? Therefore, the path of the samurai or the path of the sannyasi or the path of renunciation, the great path, the way, is something firmly grounded in death. And if you think I'm speaking off the cuff, then listen to this instruction by the Buddha. The Blessed One said, "Mindfulness of death, when developed and pursued, is of great fruit and great benefit. It gains a footing in the deathless, has the deathless as its final end. Therefore, you should develop mindfulness of death. Whoever develops mindfulness of death, thinking, 'Oh, that I might live for the interval that it takes to swallow, having chewed up one morsel of food, for the interval that it takes to breathe out after breathing in, or to breathe in after breathing out, that I might attend to the Blessed One's instructions, I would have accomplished a great deal.' They are said to dwell heedfully. They develop mindfulness of death acutely for the sake of ending the effluence. Therefore, you should train yourselves. We will dwell heedfully. We will develop mindfulness of death acutely for the sake of ending the effluence. That is how you should train yourselves." So the way of the samurai is firmly based on the way of the Buddha. There is really no difference, but it is simply how the Buddha's instructions are applied in a specific way of life, a specific mode of living within a certain society, which itself is based on the teachings of the Buddha. So in this, death is no shame. no disgrace, not a failure, not a loss, because death is going to happen anyway. Then the question becomes, how will I die? Will I die a shameful, foolish coward? Or will I die with courage and bravery and determination? When one sees, now it is time to die. As the samurai says, he should plunge in heedlessly. It's an easy choice. Only the coward, only the rationalist, the logician, or the merchant always bargaining with death, bargaining with God, would hesitate and try to get a better deal. This is contemptible. This is awful. This is cowardice. This is failure. Rather, when the time for dying comes, one should embrace death. And we are going to see in the next episode how the Vedas and Upanishads instruct us to deal with death. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Om Namah Shivaya.